According to legend, the famed cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead once delivered a lecture to her students that started with this question to her class: what was the earliest sign of human civilization? The answers her students provided are what you might predict: tools, pots, weapons, iron, agriculture. But Mead shook her head no to all these answers and instead held up a healed femur, a leg bone that had been broken and mended. She explained that this healing was the first sign of true civilization because it meant someone had looked after this person, given them food, shelter, and rest at great personal sacrifice. Mead's argument was that true human civilization arrived when our ancestors chose to look out for one another despite personal risk or inconvenience. The question of what we owe our fellow human beings has been front and center in my mind over the last several years, but most especially the last 12 months. And I keep returning to Margaret Mead's simple lesson, that the measure of any society is how willing we are to care for those who need us. I know how hard everything feels right now. I know that for the last 2 years, it seems like we have all been reaching for the shadow of a former life. You've been asked to sacrifice more than is fair, and we're all worried our hearts have forgotten how to find hope. But I'm here to tell you that they haven't. I know that because Illinois reminds me every single day of her kindness and her hope. I see it in tired smiles, in tidy laughs, in the faces of parents protecting their children and in children protecting their parents. I glimpse it in the eyes that peek out over masks, nodding at me quietly and pulling me aside to tell me about a food kitchen they're trying to help, or a blood drive they're trying to publicize, or a family they're trying to lift up. I told you when I was elected that I would be a relentless optimist for this wonderful place that we call home. I didn't tell you that I would be an optimist only if times weren't hard. I didn't tell you that I would be an optimist only if the challenges were easy. I didn't tell you that there was a limit to the hope that I could find for this state, because there's not. Illinois has never let me down, not once, not even in some of her darkest hours. Maybe the clarity that grief and struggle bring will allow us to cast off the old parts of our lives that never served us well to begin with. Maybe the resilience we've found facing a once-in-a-generation challenge has opened a path to new and better things. Maybe it's time we remember what Margaret Mead was trying to teach her class during that lecture long ago, that who we are is measured by how we care for those who need us, and that we wouldn't be standing here if that simple ancient value wasn't deeply ingrained into our very existence. So Illinois, the state of our great state, is strong, unbreakable, and enduring.